Hey, you there. Thank you for watching, and welcome to Forge Lines Forever. Today, I have a 3v3 ladder match here on the most amazing Galaxies map generator on Viewer Wednesday. So this replay was sent to me by one of you, so thank you so much. That person, their name is down in the description. Let's go ahead and introduce these teams. We'll start with Team 1 in the north, also known as the blue team, and then we'll end with Team 2 in the south, also known as the red team. Starting off with Team 1's Western player, we have in Stitch Blue, it is General Knowledge. He must know a lot of general knowledge. He is a Cybran. He is a 1310 rated. To his Eastern Royal Blue, we have another Cybran. It is Sailor Moon. He is a 1485 rated. He is the highest on Team 1 and in the game overall. And to his east, we have in Amethyst Purple, it is Skynet 123456. He is another Cybran. He is a 1244 rated. So for Team 1 side of the map, they have 0 UEF, 3 Cybrans, and then 0 Aeon, and then 0 Seraphim. Moving on to Team 2's Western player first, we have in Orange Color Orange, it is the Liberator playing as an Aeon. He is a 1210 rated. To his Eastern Chevy Crimson, we have the UEF of Blade. I don't know if I've been able to pronounce his name correctly, so I probably won't try to say the rest of it. He is a UEF. He is the one and only UEF in the game as a 1397 rated, the highest rated player on Team 2. And for Team 2's Eastern side, we have in Ruby Red is Ele Matola. He is an Aeon. He is a 1344 rated. So for Team 2 side of the map, they have 1 UEF, 0 Cybran, 2 Aeon, and then 0 Seraphim. Which means for the entirety of this match, there are no Seraphim players. Apologies to those that love to make grand entrances but arrive late every time. Hopefully you enjoy the game nonetheless. And for these 6 players on the map, let's take a look at their reclaim situation. Currently sitting at... It's not bad. It's almost 10,000 mass, which makes it about 1.5, a little bit, maybe 1.6k mass per player. The majority of that reclaim is on these 4 central islands where there's also a Trimex position. So we already see at least 1 player from Team 1 headed to the middle and grabbing reclaim there. Team 2 sending their own. We have a secondary one inbound from General Knowledge. In terms of additional mexes on the map, there is a splattering of mexes on the western and eastern side on these islands. And then, of course, that Trimex position and a twin mex on the secondary or tertiary islands as well. So there are some expansions for players to go after. Not as much for maybe the middle of the map here. I mean, again, that Trimex position is pretty much the majority of what they're going to get. And the western and eastern players on Team 1 and Team 2 have a little bit more land literally to play with. So we'll maybe see a little bit more expansion in that regard. But we'll see what they end up deciding to do. Western side, couple of units inbound from Team 1's General Knowledge to poke at Team 1's western front. And then on the eastern side, we see the comm of Skynet moving in to maybe try to excise Ele Matola from this incoming land aggression. And we'll see how the game gets on after that. Of course, for those of you, of course, it's kind of hard not to notice. It is a naval map, which means we should be seeing some T2 units quite soon, especially with it being majority water. Definitely want to get up to that tech sooner rather than later. We do see a couple of units skirmishing one another. 2 subs versus a sub and a frigate. So that will favor Team 1 because the frigate from Team 2 cannot shoot the frigates. But it does mean, of course, that they can't shoot at land targets like a Liberator there on that little island. And I will note this game does last a little bit over an hour. So get your popcorn, get your drinks, get your soda, get all that beef jerky and whatnot because it is going to be a longer one. And again, if you have a replay you want to send me, send it to me at strategiclaunchreplays@gmail.com. My stock has dwindled significantly. So you have a high chance of getting casted next week or the following week. Or, I don't know, maybe I'll get 50 replays between now and next week. And obviously that percentage chance goes down. But the point is that I don't have a lot. So if you have one, you're like, hey, oh, this happened like yesterday or 2 days ago, send it to me. I'll take a look at it. And then we'll see if I cast it. But again, higher chance to have it casted if it actually gets sent to me, and I don't really have a lot of stock. But anyway, we do see Sailor Moon and the Liberator engaging one another. Couple of units here that were killed off. Looks like maybe it's just some reclaim. Actually, I don't think maybe the Liberator got to that. I didn't see much from there in terms of units, so possibly just the reclaim that was there, the starting dead units. We do see Team 1's General Knowledge starting to push back Team 2's The Liberator's forces. We do see the Liberator does kick out Sailor Moon, Drops in about 50% of his hit points, and the Liberator's about a little bit over 8, or a little bit under 8, I should say. We see a couple of subs are nearby against Sailor Moon from Team 2's Liberator, so he probably will make it to the pond, or the pond, he's in the pond, in the island, but again, he's going to be heavily damaged, dropping into the red. Not looking too hot on board.com. 2,000 hit points and falling. 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 9. Ooh, that was very close. 600, 700 hit points remaining on board.com. That could have been devastating for Team 1 losing somebody this early. T2 Navy is online for him as well. And I would assume T2 Navy, has been started by Team 1's General. We do see T2 done here for the Liberator, T2 done for Team 2's Blade. And then to the east, we do have a naval facility almost done with T2 for Ali Matola. Surprised he's not building it in his little section over here. But, cuts down on travel time, but it does put it closer to Team 1. And I think well within range of a comms gun. So maybe not the best place to put that, but we'll see if he's able to push back Skynet sooner rather than later. Blade does not look like he's left his main base bar to get that Trimax position and then fall back. 10.5 minutes on the clock. Team 1 and Team 2 pretty close on eco. It's about maybe 20 max or so in favor for Team 1, so not really anything to write home about. I am somewhat surprised that we haven't seen Team 2's Liberator push in to try to at least excise that Trimax position, but we do see a destroyer is there, so it might do its job for him, or he's actually going to push maybe westward and kind of kick out General. Technically, this is Team 2's side of the map. Technically, that is Team 1's side of the map, and Team 1 doing a better job of holding back Team 2 on both sides of the map. That is what's somewhat driving their eco advantage, is the fact that they have more mexes at least available to them on the map. We do see a destroyer online going after a couple of frigates that are harassing some Aurora, which those frigates aren't going to last much longer. And Skynet is here. He's inbound. The Robot Revolution is inbound. Team 2's Blade getting more and more facilities online. Don't see a lot of air facilities yet for Team 2. Let's check out Team 1. Not as much as well, so a little bit surprised we don't even see T2 air just to get torpedoes online, but we'll see if they end up going for a heavy focus in that. It could just be boat v boat, which it's nice to just get a nice little naval combat back and forth, but you got to get those torpedo bombers. You just have to. To being able to target cruisers and target subs and target literally anything else with a bunch of, flying things with torpedoes might be useful to have for certain targets. Not every target, but certain targets. We do see in the west, again, forces a little bit more back and forth, but again, it's mainly Team 2 is kind of stuck in this little, narrow neck environment. We do see a couple of destroyers over here, and that will push back General Knowledge eventually. He's going to lose a couple of his mexes. He probably won't stay there long. And we do see Stealth on board, coming on board for Sailor Moon, getting some of those hit points back. Team 1, Skynet still holding. He's dropped into the yellow. He does have first Arvet, though. Going to keep himself alive a little bit longer. Alamatella's pushing in to assist on the home front there. And then some destroyers from Team 2's Blade, again, now doing essentially the same thing that the western side is doing, going after a couple of mexes and just slowly wiping out the exterior eco for Team 1. The very much, on the other side of the map kind of eco. Not a lot of investment in it, but hey, 2 mass a second times 10 is 20 mass a second. So again, it makes a difference. Destroyer still just punishing this eastern side for Team 1's Skynet. We could see maybe an attempt to go after his T2 naval headquarters. There is a Salem and a sub online. Now there's Salem inbound as well. And now more of the core mexes are being targeted. Some of the shots are missing, unfortunately, but that mex is now down. Destroyers and a cruiser is here, which means they can pretty much target everything in, or I should say, on that island. And that eco is not looking good for Skynet. We do see Team 2's Blade is over 100 mass a second, and he has T2 land online, which is interesting. He doesn't have air. I mean, they only have the Riptides as hovertech units or Perseus going underneath the surface of the waves. That's it. They don't have much in terms of hover technology. The cruiser is down. Destroyers are being hunted down. More mexes are being shot at, and now they're going into the belly of the beast for sure. There's a cruiser here, another Salem there. They're not going to kill anything off. They might get another mech or two, but we do see more destroyers inbound from Team 2's Elematoda to continue to push onto Skynet's position. We do see those destroyers are heavily damaged. Another mech is down. Cruiser might get taken out here shortly. A couple more frigates are down. Cruiser is almost dead. Cruiser is now dead. A little bit more of that AA coverage. Eliminated torpedo started here for Skynet in the east, and looks like a couple of Team 1 bombers flying over top. A little bit more destroyers here. We do see General starting to hide near the wall. He probably might dip his toes into the pond and then walk backward on the edge of the map. It's probably the best bet. He probably doesn't want to walk out to the peninsula. It's just he's going to get shot at. So it's probably better to just get him around that, get him under the water, and then send him. Because torpedoes will kill him slower than the weapon systems, the main weapon systems on board the destroyers. At least on board those ones. Now, if we're talking about sub-hunters or sub-killers, that's a different story. No T3 Navy yet. It is 16 or so minutes, so not really in that phase yet, and someone really wants it. Really, the only player that would really benefit, honestly, would be Blade because of the Neptunes. Getting those units online sooner rather than later is very nice to have. The only thing that beat them in range are the Tempests, the Torrents, and the just T3 battleships in general. So it would be nice to have those online, you would think. But again, trying to get that eco up a little bit more. It looks like Team 1's leader is Sailor Moon. And then Blade is actually the leader of the game at 130. And we do see gun speed already started for Skynet. Looks like he canceled the torpedo upgrade that he was starting. Looks like he doesn't really need it that much. He did suffer, 3 mech loss there to the north and a couple of mechs over here to the east. So he is hurting a little bit. And Team 1 is starting to catch up. Team 2 is trying to capitalize on it, but they just can't seem to get a lead going for long. Cruisers being redirected by those nice little sirens. And I will admit this, the sirens have a very long range on that missile redirect system. I don't think if it's too wide or too expansive. I just feel like, the unit was here and it grabbed a missile right there. Now, obviously, they're not in range anymore, but I don't know, maybe think it should be a little bit shorter, but that's just my 2 cents on that front. Partly because just it seems like it's very far away. So, again, my 2 cents on that. Team 1, Furfur and Aurora is inbound. Lots of Furfur 5. Probably needs actually a little bit more Aurora, to be honest. What are they ground firing on? Well, it looks like they were ground firing just what's in front of them. Looks like it's just Medusa versus Aurora. You might as well just send the units around like this and just kind of keep them at arm's length against your opponents, because again, artillery shoots it where the target is, not where the target is going. So might benefit from just moving a couple of those units. Valiance and Salem's getting at it once again, and Team 2 is pushing into Team 1's territory again. Looks like maybe more mechs are going to be the target. Again, wiping out the eco is a great way to get more units online, or just get even further ahead in the eco. But Team 1 still is in the lead. Team 2 was in the lead for a little bit, but it didn't last long. Another mech is dead. Looks like they're going to try to kill off the T2 naval headquarters for Skynet. Looks like they will grab it, so that's a nice thing to be able to just wipe out one of the 3 players on Team 1 with Cybran T2 naval technology. And western side for Team 1 and Team 2, looks like it's still Salem's versus... Actually, no, it's Exodus and Valiant, so a little bit mixture of technology there for Team 2's The Liberator. Looks like Blade is a little bit more focused on just keeping the pressure. Those destroyers are now destroyed. And I am a little surprised that he's not sending any forces this way to try to wipe out anything over here on the west. It's mainly just been focused over here. We do see, again, there's a little bit of a bay here, so you could get in, and there's 3 mechs there, and there's 3 mechs there, so well within range. Probably a 4th one to add that there. There's 7 mechs well within range. You could probably actually send some frigates and kill off some of those. I'm kind of surprised that we don't see more action this way, but we do see Team 1 is starting to focus a little bit more of their attention on this little aperture there into that bay area, so that's probably what that's going to be focused on, at least for them. And we do see unit transfer over to General to deal with that, so nice use of APM and whatnot there. We do see more destroyers from Team 2. Again, in the bay to the north, and a couple of Vespers are online, and again, they do have a lot of torpedoes, but 4v2, there's a decent amount of torque defense on board, and those torpedoes realistically aren't really reaching their targets. I think one hit the target, and that was it. We do see western side, Salem's and cruisers still pushing back Team 2, but there's a lot more momentum, a lot more destroyers. And those AoE weapons, again, they still do some damage, even if they're not impacting the Salem's. They're still doing some damage to their hit points. And it looks like the Salem's going after all of these Valiants, just running around the middle of the map here. Nano has been started for Team 1 Skynet. He has stealth on board, of course. We do see the destroyers pretty much maxing out. Missile is inbound for... I got excited for a second. Looks like it was inbound for the headquarters. And I don't think it should kill it, but there's another one right after it. 1 and 2, and 800 hit points remaining. And here comes number 3. And will it regen? No, it won't, because it's focused on the unit, not the structure. And there goes the snipe. Team 2 Naval Headquarters is annihilated for Ale Matola. And now T2 Navy is back online for Skynet. So now it's in the Navy. It's 3v2 in terms of headquarters. That is not great for Team 2. And that is, again, a downside of putting it that far. Yeah, you cut down on travel time, but you kind of make it a little bit easier for other things on Team 1 to shoot at you. So just food for thought there. Nano is done for Skynet. Ale Matola has speed on board only, no range or anything else, or T2 engineering suite or something. We do see forces from Team 2 kind of getting bogged down around this little island here. Again, the pathfinding not super great in tight quarters with a lot of units. And Silence trying to output as much damage as possible. Team 1 on the western side looks like they're getting pushed back again. It's very much a back and forth, and there's still something for Team 1 over there on the western side of the map. That radar, at a bare minimum, is paying dividends of letting Team 1 know what's up in that base. Looks like they have an Omni maybe online, because they can see all the way into the back line, which I don't see where it is, but they definitely have one. Well, they have it all the way up to here, so it made me think the range on it would be back over here somewhere. I just don't see it, which is odd. That's a Team 1 radar system, and that's a Team... Yeah, I don't... What can they... I don't even know where it is. I'm going crazy. Anyway, yeah, I just don't see the Omni. It's probably staring at me in the face, and I don't see it. But at 24 minutes, the Omni's definitely on the cards here. We do see Skynet has now pushed back Ale Matola from the eastern side, and those Salem's and cruisers are just, I should say sirens, are just punishing him, and he's going to get killed off by Team 1 Skynet. Of course, actually no, Sailor Moon gets the kill. Skynet gets the assist. Now the eastern side of the map for Team 2 is going to probably be handed over to Blade. He'll have double eco, but he has a force from Team 1 inbound, and it's not really being stopped anytime soon. There's mermaids mixed in there. There's like an AA presence with the sirens and frigates and destroyers and a partridge in a pear tree and everything else. And a lot of these mexes are going to be dead here soon. Again, I was going to say, kind of surprised he's not sending them this way, but looks like he is going to. We do see that Blade is over here in the water. Maybe time to have the comm come up and shoot at the Salem's just to do some damage, because there's 5 of the Salem's here hanging out, and one mech hasn't been eliminated yet. One of them is T3 now, but that's going to be unfortunate to lose. 27 mass a second. Team 2's been down in eco for a while now, and losing even more mass isn't going to be helpful. And now the Salem's are now going to start sprouting legs and now pushing into Blade's territory. Again, somewhat still surprised he's not trying to just push back with his comm, but maybe he's focused on other things. T2PD being built. Looks like to try to force back the Salem's, and they are wiping out the lead one. It's at 3-star vet. 11,000 mass killed with that one. We have 10,000 mass, 8,000 mass, 7,000 mass, 9,000 mass. And they are dealing with them. The only unfortunate thing is there's 1 mech's dead, 2 mech's dead, 3 mech's dead. And look at that eco. It's dropping significantly for Team 2. And yeah, it's taking a while to chew through that T3 mechs, but there's still 2 Salem's left, and that mech's is dead, and that mech's will probably follow suit most likely. Still surprised Blade isn't sending his comm out. Maybe he's distracted doing other things. Team 2 is launching a counterattack. They've wiped out the T3 Naval Headquarters that was building a Galaxy that looks like it was almost done, actually. And it sinks to the bottom of the water, so Team 1 loses that. That is very unfortunate. Not a lot of AA, though, so those Cormorant-class bombers will get a lot of value out of them. Another Salem is dead. 2 remain. And again, that one is heavily damaged. That one's perfectly fine. There's another dead mechs. There's 4 dead mechs here. Another one dead over there. 5. And then soon to be 6. And then 7. And then probably everything else. Skynet's over here to the east. He's pushing in on Team 2's side of the map. I think this is maybe the farthest I've seen a player walk their comm to the other side of the map. Usually it's either transport or teleport. There's really never a walk on land, or in this case walk on land in water. Not in water, just underwater. And T2 artillery is being built. Again, not sending any units in. There goes his comm. All he has to do is overcharge, kills off the first one, and then kill off the second one. There's the overcharge, kills off the first one. And that's going to kill off the last remaining Salem, but the damage is done. 4 mechs is dead. One of them taking some damage. We have the destroyers over here. We do see that Skynet's over here, so he might just be forced. Well, either it's 6s, because either you go on land and then the main cannons open up, or you're just going to be poked and prodded to death by those torpedoes. We do see some hover. Actually, that's not even hover. That's just units on this, on the bottom of the water, the land under the water, whatever the bottom of the ocean is called, the ocean floor, I guess. Western side, we do see T2 Navy from Team 2 wiping out the other T2 Naval headquarters on the western side. So now the only facility for Team 1 in Navy that has headquarters is the one that was destroyed earlier, being Skynet's. Team 2's Liberator has pushed significantly into Team 1's facilities. Their shipyards are heavily damaged, if not destroyed. They'll have to rebuild all of their headquarters. That is unfortunate. Of course, he's getting stuff done now. I wouldn't be surprised if he builds the main facility up there just to keep it protected. Eastern side, Skynet's still pushing. He's determined to kill off as much as the extra base, air quotes, that Team 2 has. The only problem I see for Team 2 is the longer this goes on with the eco situation, it's not good. Team 1 almost triple that of Team 2's eco. Not double, which double would also still be bad. Almost triple that of Team 1, and they have another player in terms of players left alive. So APM plus eco, not a good combo to have in any game, but especially ladder matches where there's just so many few players. Even at 4v4, I mean, you lose either 25%, or in this case 33%, or in some games 50%. I don't count 1v1s, because if you die, the game's over. Or if the other person dies, the game's over. So there's either 100% or 0%. There's no middle ground, at least in 1v1s. And the comm of Skynet is going to be fine. Again, he's trying to get some reinforcements, but yeah, that's not going to work. So, I mean, it might as well maybe wipe out all the mexes here. We do see he's going to build a facility here. Maybe just reclaim it. Get some engineers. Get all that juicy reclaim. Funnel it into more units and get yourself out of there. He maybe could get a transport online. Team 2 has T2 air, so they could build Janus, but they don't have ASFs. Team 1, it's just T2 air, no T3. And now we have the facility here gone. That was probably just a T1. It could have been a T2, but I highly doubt it was a T2. With only 160, I highly doubt it. And more mexes are being dead for Team 1. And the eco is dropping significantly for them. They were at 7s. Oh, that's power related. Can't spend it fast. No, that's not power related. That seems like legitimately generated eco. The T3 mex is being eliminated. T2 mex is being limited. We're having a mirror effect in this game. 30 minutes on the clock, and this base is pretty much gone. This base, it's not looking good. This headquarters is back online. We have another, fleet starting to emerge with some pseudo units, with some Aurora. Kind of surprised to not see some blazes mixed in there, to be honest, since he's Aeon. We have destroyers targeting T3 mexes here. In general, sitting underneath some shield coverage. Definitely smart there. More mexes being eliminated. No real emphasis targeting these units. Realistically, it's only after these ones. We do see Team 1 Sailor Moon down here in the pond. He has nano. Of course, he has torpedo to be able to fight those units, but he has nano, which means he stays alive even longer, and aptly so, because he is being targeted by those destroyers' torpedoes. And he's lost some hit points, but again, 80 hit points a second. He's still on the green. There's not that many forces now. I think he's fine. We do see lots of interceptors hanging out in the southeastern corner. He's getting at it. He's making a break for it. Looks like Team 2's fleet fell back because of all of the annoying cormorants. All he has to do is, I mean, honestly, get to the pond and then get to here. Once he's there, he's home free. But he needs to be careful. Team 2 could easily just push back to the east. He's stuck. He's going to get shot at by all of the everything. And that's it. Team 3 Navy is on line, and you didn't build Neptunes? Ooh, that... Ooh, as a personal... It feels like almost a personal slight, of course. I'm jesting. But your UEF, you have access to a unique unit like the Neptune, and you don't build it? Also, where are your cruisers? I don't see many cruisers being built. That's destroyer. That is a destroyer, and that is all. No cruisers, which is weird because he's getting punished by torpedo bombers, and that's realistically the only reason why Skynet's getting out of there is because those destroyers are being eliminated. I will note that Team 2 is now in the lead for Eco, so they went being almost triple behind Team 2 to now being ahead, not by much, but being ahead of Team 1's Eco. That is a significant flip in favor for Team 2 because they were down significantly. But we will see if they can manage a comeback. Again, Team 1 was, they got a kill. They wiped an entire base. There's more units inbound. Team 2 is doing a similar thing, wiping out chunks of bases. Not the whole base, but, chunks of 2 bases. So maybe a little bit more damage for Team 1. We do see destroyers getting at it and going at it. If I could talk. And at 33 minutes on the clock, we've only had 1 death, being Ali Mattel on Team 2, so it's a 3v2. Team 1 has lost facilities. Team 2 has lost facilities. Team 1 and Team 2, I'd say, again, map control, it's very fluid, so I'll say 50-50 and just call it a day, but I will have an asterisk even on top of that. This base does not exist for either team, but technically it was Team 2, so favor for Team 1 in terms of map control. That's why I just say 50% with a nice little asterisk, being like, hey, not really entirely 100% sure about that. But anyway, let me know down in the comments if you think is going to currently win this game. That is the wrong button. Let me know down in the comments. Again, thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Again, if you have a replay, I cannot stress this enough, please send it to me at strategiclaunchreplays@gmail.com. The email is down in the description, and it's on my YouTube page, so if you can't find it in the description for whatever reason, it's also there. Send it to me. I'll take a look at it, and we'll go from there. So again, thank you so much already ahead of time for sending to me. For those of you who have already sent me things, thank you so much. And those of you, of course, who continue to do so, also thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. And yes, I answer my emails. I'm not as fast on it sometimes versus the comments on the videos, but I do answer them. So again, thank you. The message might be delayed sometimes, but that's just life and whatnot. But look at this. Team 1 spamming out facilities, and a lone little summit goes, I'm going to charge in, and that's not looking well. See, if that was a Neptune, it'd be different. It's somewhat different. There is the Galaxy there, so that's something to consider. But again, the thing is that, yeah, you built the biggest unit in the fleet for UEF. The problem is when you have death by 1,000 cuts, maybe you'll kill off some frigates, maybe you'll kill off a destroyer or two, but with that amount of firepower, that amount of units, it's not going to matter. It realistically isn't. So that is the downside with going with the bigger and bulkier units. You see that a lot also in my Empire at War videos, where I like to build the big units and use them as my tanks and just hide all my smaller units behind them. If the AI, the very annoying AI, sends 1,001 units at me, even if they're super small, eventually they will kill the big thing. So just food for thought there. Food for thought. We do see Team 1's general knowledge base is not looking super great. He has a T3 land headquarters, and it's still alive. So there's that. He can produce bricks, and he has torpedoes on those bricks, and he can push back Team 2. So that might be an idea. We do see a couple of cruisers over here, and the fleet is inbound from Team 1's Sailor Moon and a couple of Galaxies, plus all of the destroyers. Looks like it's mainly destroyers for Team 1's Eastern player of Skynet, and then it's the Galaxies with the... He's building the biggest and the smallest units, and that's what Sailor Moon's doing. And then we see Skynet doing the more medium units. We see the cruisers, we see the destroyers. So it's a nice little mixture of both, which I love to see that one player isn't doing all of the everything. They're divvying up all of the tasks and the units and the whatnot. Love to see it. Still no Neptunes. Why? Second summit is done because I saw the shots to the east. We see T3 Navy is also in line going for aircraft carrier. That's interesting. Again, they have good AA, so I'll give them that. But don't know if it's worth it at that point, especially with the Omens now on, not Omens, the Galaxies only. He does have an Omen, to be fair, but I don't know if it's worth it right now for the aircraft carrier. Again, eastern side still has not been reclaimed. The engineers are inbound. Torp bombers cannot target ground units, so I don't know why they're going over there. The comm could easily wipe those out. I don't know why he's just not sending his comm over there to deal with those guys. We do see, again, no AA still for Team 2's fleet over here to the east, so yeah, there's okay, technically, yes, there's AA on board, but really, is there really AA on board? Are they doing a lot of damage to those T2 Torp bombers? Not really, so might want to get AA on board. We do see one is here finally, and look at that. It's already mopped up most of those bombers, but how much more damage could have been mitigated? How many more units could have been saved? There's more bombers inbound. Team 1 has recognized that Team 2 is just not building AA over here, and they're just going to keep punishing them at this point, and needs to learn the lesson, or he might just continue to be punished. But we will see. Western side, we see a couple of Galaxies. Again, same thing. Yes, they are the bigger and bulkier units, but here are the destroyers. Yes, there is an Omen shooting at it. I see that. But the T2 units are doing most of the work. And there goes one Galaxy. Summit comes in, steals the kill, essentially, from all of those hardworking destroyers and sub-hunters. But that is the end of that first Galaxy. And again, there's going to be a lot of reclaim now on the map. Team 1 and Team 2 sitting at, that's a lot of reclaim for Team 1, 100,000 plus. Some of that, of course, was built by Team 2, to be fair, just in that one base. But 50,000 for Team 2. Total mass accrued 140,000-ish in favor for Team 1-ish, because it's rounding. But, you know, I'm trying to do math in my head and make numbers easy. Anyway, 39 minutes and climbing. And Team 1, we have T2 Navy, maybe going to be rebuilt for... No! He's going to go for Monkey Lord, which is interesting. Looks like it's going to be up to Sailor Moon to guard the western side. We still see a little bit more pushback from Team 1 Skynet going this way, but look at this. This entire eastern side is just not even there anymore. Looks like a lot of the focus has kind of shifted more, honestly, to the western side over here. I'm kind of surprised they're not sending units down this way. You know, the fleet there from Team 2 is there to act as a stopgap from this way and this way. But with most of the fleet occupied here, you'd kind of be surprised to see forces not go this way. But maybe they're busy doing other things. We do see Galaxy is just charging into the mist. And, yeah, it's great for tanking the damage, but with all of those destroyers saying, hi... yeah, look at the hit points just getting carved away by all the... Those are destroyer fire for the most part. Yeah, there's a summit somewhere. All right, oh, there's a couple of them, actually, but I don't think they're really targeting that. We do see a couple more cruisers starting to emerge, so I'd love to see that. So getting those spammable attack missile launchers. I will note, though, that the Galaxies and the Omens, and I think, yeah, and the Summits do have TMD on board. So you really have to spam those missiles. I don't even know if... torrents might be enough. But again, you get enough defenses. It might not be enough. It just really depends, especially with, you know, shielding involved and a whole bunch of other stuff. Torrents would be very nice because they have a long, long range, but I don't think the Galaxy fires that quickly with its zapper to be able to deal with all the missiles. It could deal with a decent majority of them, to be fair, but I don't think all of them would be able to be stopped. Well, I like the little small Congolina engineers going around the little mountain. They're like, oh, look, there's reclaim. Oh, we are grossly underestimated the force from Team 2. And, yeah, it didn't really go well. Doesn't look like T3 units have emerged yet for Skynet. T3 Navy is online. He's going for P-Gens now, and he is going to go for his own Galaxies. I feel like he was doing pretty well just sticking with Team 2, T2 at this point. But still no Neptunes. And again, if Team 2's Blade did deploy Neptunes on this eastern side, again, throwing it in the mist probably isn't the best idea. Keeping it at range, ooh, that would be very nice, especially with the dual laser cannons on board. Oof. Oof. Great unit. I just cannot just hype it up even more. I love that unit. And it's mainly because of the lasers. Honestly, to be frank, I just like the lasers. Same with the T2 Seraphim Destroyer. I just like it because it has lasers. Because lasers are cool. So telemaser, not for some reason not as much, but for some reason with Navy and lasers, there's just something about it. I don't know. Destroyers, bombers inbound. They drop some payloads on a unit that's already dead. They move over here. Second summit, not looking too hot. It's already dropped to about 50%. And again, he keeps pushing the summits in within range of the destroyers, and they do what their namesake is, just absolutely destroy. Look at all those yellow dots. Look at them all just chewing up that summit. You got to keep the battleships at range. You engage other units at their range. Again, the best situation is you're shooting at them, and they can't shoot back. That's technically infinite damage over the course of, well, infinity. But that's the point, is they can't shoot back. You're not taking damage. They're taking damage. Everything's good for you, not good for them. But pushing them in the range, not the best idea. Michael over here, that's not good for Team 2. Again, that is the one built by General. He's back up to T2. He's almost up to T3. So everybody on T3 is going to have... Sorry, Team 1 is going to have T3. It's not a Team 3. Team 2, we've had T3 Navy online for a while now. Looks like air grids are going to be expanded upon on this eastern side. That's probably actually a nice use of land there. Obviously, shields everywhere. Because P-gens are kind of important, especially with Navy. Western side, look at this. More mechs is being carved away. We do see an Omen here targeting the Monkey Lord. We have a destroyer also there. T2 land headquarters is. Don't need double or triple of them. There's one over here. That's perfectly fine. Yeah, having an extra one on that island is fine. Anything more than that isn't necessary. And then Team 2's Blade is pushing it again. And again, he's trying to mirror what he did before and just send units into Team 1's side of the map. And yeah, it's carving away some mexes. It's carving away some units. There is now a Galaxy there, 2 Galaxies there. Maybe that was built by Team 1, say Sailor Moon or Skynet. It doesn't really matter because they're all Cyberns, so they trade units. Kind of hard to tell who actually built it. Unlike Team 2 where it's an Aeon and a UEF, so you, for the most part, know unless somebody built a different type of facility. Monkey Lord heavily damaged, almost in the red. It will get some veterancy to stay alive. Oh, that's another headquarters. Why are there 3 of them over there? Not worth the mass. Bombers inbound going after the first of the 3 Galaxies. Looks like 3. There are some Vespers in there using their torpedoes on board. Nice to see that. Overwhelming the torp defense also is a nice way to ensure that something hits something. Gunship over in the east. I think that's the first T3 gunship I believe that we've seen in action. And it's getting riddled to death by that T1 AA. It is, you know, off map a little bit, but it's just hovering. It's not really more of a, you know, he did that on purpose. It was just kind of slowly hovering over there. But it gets wiped out. Team 1 has T3 air as well in 1 degree. Actually, no, 2 degrees, actually. Then T2 air is also online. Team 2, do you know what's up with Team 1, what they're up to? Pretty much everything. What about Team 1? Do you know everything? You know a decent amount, and you still have a spy plane back. Sorry, air scout back there just to keep some tabs on Team 2 for the time being. 47 minutes and climbing. And it's just Salem. We have Galaxies via Summits. We have Omens via Galaxies. It's just all of the Galaxies versus all of the everything else. Is anybody building anything else in this game besides Navy? I mean, again, I love Navy. But that can't be the only thing, which it's not. Nuke has been started and is being loaded as we speak for Blade. Getting more air facilities and P-gens online. Again, definitely need some shielding for that, but that's my 2 cents on that. Team 1 and Team 2 now in the 800. Actually, no, Team 2's at 650. It looked like 800. But Team 1's at 870. Not looking good for Team 2 in terms of eco. I mean, they were ahead for a brief moment, but Team 1's been ecoing, I mean, decently hard. I mean, they were at almost triple at one point of Team 2's eco. So it just goes to show that, you know, get those, some of those bulkier units, keep them back. Get those more T2 units to fill out most of your ranks, and have Team 2 charge in with their bigger and slower units, and they kind of just die. And Summit is gone. There it is. The last remaining Summit on the eastern side is gone, and now it's just kill off everything else for Team 2. That fleet got decimated by Team 1. Oof, that's just got to hurt. And I mean, I'm not trying to harp on one player or the other, but it's just, I mean, sending the Salems in, sending the Summits in multiple times doesn't really help the situation. Again, you got to keep them back, keep them at range. I mean, over here, it's better. The only things shooting at the Omens are other battleships. That's it. Yeah, you can say the Torp bombers and everything else is shooting at them technically, but for the most part, the only things that are shooting at that range are the only things that also have that range, or similar, given the Torrent is now shooting at them. And now we can kind of see, again, multiple TMD when you stack them up with the Galaxies one on top of the other. The missiles are not enough from Team 2. Yeah, there's another one here, so there's 2 of them. Nuke has been spotted by Sailor Moon, and it is almost the way loaded. And there are missiles raining in from Team 2 over here. They are weaker missiles, I believe. We also have missile redirect systems. They are going to be shot down by Team 2's own TMD, so that's not a problem. So it's just one of those, hey, just shoot at the missile that's coming back at us, but not a big deal. And that Team 2 Nuke, it are a couple of targets. He is asking for targets. There's some mexes over here. That'd be a good target. There's an SMD over there. That is a great target. Killing off all of this. Do they even know what's up there? They don't know the SMD is there. And they got to presume 51 minutes. 51 minutes, you don't assume that your opponent has an SMD. That's probably what he's thinking, but obviously it's not loaded. The fact that it isn't loaded yet is kind of definitely an oversight for sure. SMD is loaded. SMD is almost loaded. So if he were to strike your base, it would probably be this one, because you're maybe concerned that SMD maybe might grab the nuke. It should be fine, but just in case kind of thing. That nuke should be firing here momentarily, sooner rather than later kind of thing. There's the nuke. It is loaded. You see the 1 out of 5 there. 51 minutes and also climbing. Team 2, 700. Team 1, 900. Maybe we won't even see 1,000 mass a second for anybody this game, which would actually be kind of rare, because I feel like every game I've cast in, we've seen 1,000 mass a second. Matola says, target this. Oh, not target this. Look at this. So the SMD is loaded in time. Looks like Alamatola is helping out. There's another SMD over there. That's going to be loaded in time. Obviously, this one was already loaded. Team 1 also has their own nuke. Look at that. They've all been spotted. They are aware. Nuke. Yeah, kill off at least 3 mexes. Yeah, I think if you get it there, it'll get 4. But there goes the nuke. And, it is going to go after the naval forces. The thing is how many are they going to get is the problem. We see someone going this way, someone going this way. One is going this way. It might make a difference. Team 2 has comparable amounts of battleships. And it's going to grab 2. Kaboom. And that's the regular nuke size as well. I don't think 2 battleships are worth 1 nuke. I mean, it's 14,000 mass. It's something, but I mean, there's mexes over here to the east that could have been targeted. There's this little group. There's 5 Galaxies right there. That would have been probably a really good nuke. Again, the map is inflicting some pain on the pathfinding for Team 1, but could have targeted that. But looks like he's going to send in the Salem. I keep saying Salems. The Summits and the Galaxies. I don't know why, because they start with S maybe, is that why? Probably. But that Salem, see, I did it again. That Summit is getting just ripped apart, and it's moving within range of all of these other Galaxies, to be fair. But here come the destroyers, and they're going to wipe out this one first and then target the one behind it, and that Summit's already dead. Now it's a 5 to 6 in terms of battleships, and all of those forces are inbound from Sailor Moon. His majority are actually over here to the west, but he's actually playing it a little bit more defensive, has some harms, has some, actually only has harms. Does he not have AA mixed in there? I feel like that's a missed opportunity. Don't have some AA anywhere. But Team 1, how's your vision going? Still knowing what Team 2 is up to for the most part. Team 2, what are you knowing up to? They know about the SMDs, and they don't know about the nuke yet. But in terms of reclaim, we're talking about 144 for Team 2 and 244 for Team 1. And that Summit, look at that thing just get annihilated. And it's not really the frigates. It's honestly the destroyers. And the Galaxies are doing work, but it's all the destroyers that are really ripping that thing apart. And it's starting to fall apart on the western side. Team 2's getting pushed back. And I think it just might be the slow crawl to death for Team 2. Again, that is the thing with Navy is you may be winning or losing Navy, but you don't really know you're winning or losing until about like 5 minutes after the main, thing that lets you win or will eventually let you win happen 5 minutes before, because it takes time to build the units, move them over, and if you're wiping out wave after wave after wave, and you're slowly pushing in, you may not be noticing the fact that by the time you get to, let's say, here in Team 1's perspective, you're like, oh, we're in range of that naval headquarters. When did that happen? Oh, okay, we'll just target that now, kind of thing. We have an SACUs running around. They are some support, just regular support presets. Rarely see that. Surprised they're not using some RAS presets or something. But yeah, it is different to not see any sort of presets built on those. We still have shots raining in at one of those. Is that a summit? That must be a summit. Yeah, it's definitely a summit. The omens are the plasma based. And eastern side, just lots and lots of cruisers still. Again, they are pumping out some missiles, but again, there's enough TMD with all of the Galaxies there where it doesn't really matter. Even if it was Torrents instead, maybe some missiles would make it through, but not a whole lot, to be honest. And more summits, more and more omens, but that's like the only thing they're building. And torpedo bombers, to be fair. How's the Nuke going? Lasers down on Skynet. That's interesting. Nuke is reloaded. Are they going to go westward? There's only 3 here now. There was there 5, but looks like some died. There's even more over here now. There's, 2, 4, 6, 7 of them. The Nuke is inbound for that position, and Skynet has to know he's going to be targeted. He has one moving away. He has another one moving away. And now all of them moving. Nuke counter is inbound from Team 1, and it's going for the western base, and it's going for the headquarters. There's no SMD actually anywhere on that island. And that'll be a win for Team 1 over there. And the Nuke kills off 3. It did 3 this time instead of 2, so improvement. Kaboom! But that Nuke from Team 1, it's going to kill off the headquarters. That's going to prevent more battleships from being built, and aircraft carriers, to be fair. But mainly those battleships, and that's going to be a great Nuke, killing off all the engineers, of course. Kaboom! And 56 minutes on the clock. There goes the first of the 2 T3 naval headquarters is for Team 2, and the spam is inbound, and he does not care. Look at that. Look at that fleet just inbound. A lot of T1 spam. But hey, if it's 1 or 2 shots being distracted from the summit, it keeps the Galaxies alive. Those 1 or 2 more shots, and it's a lot easier to rebuild a couple of frigates than it is to rebuild a Galaxy. So, food for thought. Anyway, there is the bulwark there. Still no Neptune. Still sad about no Neptune. But anyway. 1 destroyer might make it out of there. Probably not. Yep, there it goes. And yep, just not looking good. Team 2 is bleeding over here. That Monkey Lord is back. 2nd star vet closing in on 3rd. We do see La Liberator. Looks like he might accept his fate. Looks like he's going to go on the land at least. And the fleet is inbound from Team 1. That western side has collapsed. We have forces inbound from Blade to assist, but it's only going to stem a little bit of the bleeding, if that. And pulling forces away from the eastern side means Team 1 could push back pretty easily. And the Eco 950 to 900, Team 2 has caught up in a significant way, but maybe a little too late at this point. The Liberator's like, come back, Monkey Lord, kill me. The match is over at this point. I love the teamwork here from Blade. They're trying to assist as much as he can, but there's too many units. The reload speed is very obviously decently long for the summits, and so it's just they can only shoot at so many targets before the overwhelming firepower from Team 1 just comes bearing down on top of them. We have bombers inbound, 58 minutes in climbing, not nuke. I'm kind of surprised another nuke hasn't been fired yet. It's half loaded. How's this nuke from Team 2? It's almost reloaded again. It's not 2-star vet, but AA comes in and cleans up most of those bombers. Now we have summits just being surrounded by frigates. Oh, there it is. Finally, 59 minutes on the clock, and we finally see it. The Neptune class battlecruiser. Oh, there's another one. Look at that. No, that's it. No, that's another summit. Finally see it. 59 minutes. And look at that. Look at that. Just erase the frigates off of the map. Just zip, zip. Kills off multiple of them in a burst. And there goes Team 2 is the Liberator to the everything from Team 1. The Galaxies and probably the Sirens was targeting. Maybe some Bombers, but again, it's 59 minutes. He was chasing down the Monkey Lord, so, you know. And Bombers are inbound. The Nuke is... Was it fired? It was fired at some point, I think. Maybe? I thought he almost had one loaded. Maybe not. But Bombers over the top aren't really going to do anything against ground targets. GG's in the chat. And now it's just the slow enclosement around that. There goes the Nuke, killed off by the Monkey Lord. And T3 Naval Headquarters is gone. There was a summit being built. I'm not actually sure what my teammates did all game, says Blade. And Monkey Lord really having some troubles targeting literally anything. Really having a fit about what it's shooting at. It was pretty even until very late game. I mean, yeah, I'd say that. I mean, the Eco was favoring Team 1 for the majority of it. Nuke hits that a little too late, like 12,000 at a time from Reclaimed, and still on T2 mixes. Blade looks like he's going to teleport out. There he goes. And Team 1 wins the game. Flawless victory from them. 1 hour, 1 minute, and 15 seconds on the clock. Team 1 wins the game. And, I mean, it came down to Eco for sure, but I do think sending in summits when maybe Neptunes would have been better, again, especially with all the Team 1 and T2 spam on this Eastern Front, sending in summits, not the best choice. Yeah, again, they are the big and the bulky units, but they don't fire very quickly. That's the problem. They're meant for long range and prolonged engagements. The Neptune is kind of like a slimmed down version of a battleship or a bigger destroyer, one or the battle cruiser, one or the other, and sending it in, not sending it in the midst of them, but still keeping it at range, or at least trying to do as best you can, and using the laser weapons, just picking them off. I mean, multiple frigates killed off in like one burst. I mean, you do that enough times pretty quickly, and that whole fleet of T2 destroyers is gone. So, again, there are improvements to be made everywhere around, but there was a lot of very aggressive attacks from both the players on Team 2, killing off multiple mexes. Same thing with Team 1. Multiple mexes multiple times. So I think Team 2 was aggressive, and then I think they just were too aggressive at some stages, and then it kind of bit them. But it happens. So let me know down in the comments what you felt about the match. Thank you so much for watching to the very end of the video. And again, as always, I wasn't trying to harp on one player or the other. Just things that I noticed. So thank you so much for watching the very end, as always, and I will see all of you in the next one.